Welcome back to a best of 3 series of professional StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a Terran versus Zerg, where in game number 1 we find ourselves on Hardwire. Right from the get-go, we've got a little bit of chatter going on right here. Our Terran already getting aggressive. Anyways, with the red Zerg drones from South Korea, we have one of the strongest Zerg players in the world, and his name is Dark. And his opponent in the opposite corner with the yellow SCVs, we are looking at ByuN's main command center. Alrighty, so ByuN versus Dark, a top-tier series. Should be a lot of fun. Both of these guys, of course, ridiculously good at the game. Some of the best players from South Korea, and with that, of course, all of StarCraft. Alright, so these guys are already chatting away. I wish I knew what they were saying. Oh, Maddox's actually coming in for the rescue. Wait, Dark is asking a please? That means a remake in the game? ByuN says that ain't possible. Alright, I was gonna say, do I have to write replay? I believe I do. Did anything go wrong here for Dark? Okay, I'm actually gonna go back. Sorry, I know the game hasn't even really begun yet. I'm gonna go back to the start. Did anything actually go wrong for Dark? Okay, yes. Something did go wrong for Dark. What was that? Every once in a while when you're playing a game of StarCraft, you kind of like sleep on the job a little bit, right? Since the early game is something you've done literally a gajillion times. Oh, Dark was actually just being nice. ByuN is being a bit of a jerk. So he's asking if he can get a restart in this game, and ByuN is like, no, that can't happen. Alright, every once in a while when you play a game of StarCraft, you find yourself autopiloting pretty bad, and I guess Dark decided to just send his drone a little bit early, not realizing that you sent the drone after the first Overlord is made, if you want to go for a hatchery first. Maybe ByuN really needs to go. I mean, to be fair, the tournament rules, obviously, are definitely in favor right here of ByuN. If you make a mistake, that's on you. Anyway, starting off with the shut up. I mean, you never really know, right? There's a very good chance, like I would say there's about a 95% chance it's just some friendly banter between these two, because they're actually very familiar with each other. I don't know what the problem Dark faced, but I'd even know if he memed. Yeah, I'm pretty sure exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, Dark probably going in for some memes over here at the beginning of the game, trying to immediately throw ByuN under the bus as well, but he actually did make a little bit of an error. So maybe the shut up right there did throw him off, right? Actually, in most of the tournaments, especially the premier events, there are some rules to prevent chatting between the players. Especially in the original StarCraft, with Kespa being involved over in South Korea, the rules were ridiculously strict. Basically, you could only ever say GLHF, PP, or GG, right? Like, those are the only things you could ever say. So you could request a pause, you could say good luck, have fun, and you could say good game, and that was really about it. Anyway, not a big deal. I'm sure Dark will be able to, recover the 1 lost mineral that he lost. Okay, more like 3 lost minerals, I guess, because he sent the drone down and then had to go all the way back up. Little bit of lost mining time right over there, but it's certainly not gonna be the end of the world. ByuN going for a standard opener. Pretty quick factory here as a follow-up. A Reaper into a Marine, into a Reactor, and then he's gonna do the big switcheroo, start pumping out those Hellions 2 at a time. Can he do any damage right here with this Reaper? Yeah, the Koreans like to go for 6 Zerglings in the earlier stage of the game. Oh, well, if you're gonna sacrifice links like that, maybe not a terrible idea. The jump-up pad is right over here. ByuN is gonna be able to escape. Alright. He's decided, by the way, Dark that is, to go for a very quick 3rd hatchery. This is something that ByuN hasn't scouted yet, but he will figure out right around right now. Yep. So he knows that everything is A-okay. This is what we call the standard in Terran versus Zerg. Zergs like going for that very quick 3rd hatchery, just because there's not a whole lot the Terran player can do about it. And as soon as, obviously, those Hellions are out, right? As soon as there's, like, Hellions roaming this side of the map, and you don't have, like, link speed done yet, it's actually quite tricky to take your 3rd base. So oftentimes, even though it feels a little counterintuitive, it's actually safer to take it sooner rather than later. It's gonna be a quick 3rd command center right here from ByuN. So rather than going for the 1-1-1, right? So barracks into factory into starport, he decides to go barracks into factory into 3rd command center into starport. Another very common build. Alright, he does end up losing that Reaper right here in the end, so no additional scouting, and that's actually gonna come in quite handy here, because Dark has decided to go for a very quick Roach Warren. This is like 3 minutes and, what, 15 seconds or so on that Roach Warren? This is, yeah, gonna be a triple gas variant, meaning that Dark will probably try to go for all-in. Or he will probably try to go for a all-in, rather. He will probably try to go for all-in. Anyways, good English, Loco. Nicely done. It's early in the morning, okay? Anyways, this is usually going to be one of those builds where Zergs will go indeed for a bunch of Overlords. Decides to add on a drone as well. I'm not entirely sure about that. Anyways, you go for a bunch of Overlords, then you make like, I don't know, 8 to 15 roaches or so, depending on the version you're going for and how much gas you've saved up. And then I believe he plans on following it up right here with Zerglings too. Otherwise, I don't think you go for triple gas. So what you can do is obviously morph some of the roaches on the other side of the map into Ravagers. Luckily here for our Terran player though, he's actually going blind double Banshee. Maybe this is something, like maybe these guys have been practicing a lot recently, right? And maybe this is a build that Dark has been playing against ByuN already. I don't think he's seen anything, but he knows that something's not quite right. And honestly, blind double Banshee is exactly what you want against this. Although I don't think you want to be sending, okay, I thought he was going to be sending this one through the left side of the map. Yeah, there are going to be Zerglings on the back of this too. So Dark plans on winning the game in the next couple of minutes. He's going to have an awful lot of stuff. But ByuN, yeah, he can start wiggling away right here because there's absolutely no anti-air in this Zerg army other than corrosive biles, which should never happen. Nah, that should never happen. I actually think you want to save the corrosive biles there for other things. No Overlord to provide high ground vision here either. So honestly, this is not a very good situation here for the Zerg at all. Brilliant defense so far by ByuN. Making it so that all of the Zerg units line up on the ramp too. So only 3 SCVs end up going down here. That was a huge investment right there from our Zerg. Yeah, not very efficient whatsoever. Alright. It's not just an investment as far as like, you know, resources goes, but also as far as time goes, right? So like right now he finally starts up the lair. You'll probably go for Evo chambers, maybe a bailing nest and all that, but ByuN hasn't really been slowed down very much. He's had the 3rd base. Sadly, he did apparently forget making supply depots, so that's a little bit sloppy. Anyways, he did go for the 3rd base very quickly. Obviously, only 3 workers ended up going down, so that's pretty much as clean a defense as you can hope for. He's going to be able to go to the other side of the map. I mean, the only thing that could make that better right there for ByuN is not hitting supply blocks, right? And maybe producing some SCVs at the 3rd base, but you never really know if any of the Zerglings are going to run on over there. Anyhow, this is now a bit of an awkward spot right here, though, for our Zerg. What do you do? Terran already finished up Stimpec. He's going double upgrades, which I love. He's decided to go for the combat shields upgrade as well as a follow-up. So as soon as those 3 upgrades are done, together with Stimpec, is going to make a very powerful timing attack. There's going to be some siege tanks with that army too, so yeah, I think maybe making a push as soon as those upgrades are done is a good choice. This does mean, though, that Dark, at least for a little while here, is going to have some time, and he knows it. He decides to start up 1-1. You can see the difference right there in those upgrade timings. He decides to start up 1-1. It is going to be melee upgrades. So he'll probably transition towards a Zergling-based army here, but he's still adding on roaches too. Interestingly enough, macro hatchery in the main base. 4th hatchery also does go down, or 4th base goes down. Not a whole lot of damage done here with these Banshees other than defending their home. Oh wow, straight into infestation pit too, okay. So Dark basically is trying to take a chance here. Right? Like, he's making a large army right now. He knows that there's a good chance that Terran's gonna push, and that's exactly what's happening. But going into an infestation pit here, I mean, it's not gonna be for swarm hosts, right? It's likely not gonna be for infestors, although he does mix it in with Roach Ravager from time to time. Maybe going straight into a hive? Not exactly sure. Yeah, maybe a couple infestors. Not a bad choice either. Zerglings are already running towards the 3rd base too, but sadly for them, the 3rd has been taken on the other side. Should be enough Marines here to deal with this army too, although, you know what, I say that. Yeah, they did force a council right there on the 4th CC. Only 100 minerals lost. In the meantime, Terran slowly pushing forward at the 4th base. Okay, Ravagers do really want to rain their corrosive biles here, but already so much damage is being done, yeah. When you have a Marine-based army against roaches like that and you have an upgrade lead, it's really, really quite nice. You'd imagine, right? If those upgrades were even, if 1-1 was done for those Zergs, or I guess, you know, the +1 carapace at the very least, that fight would have looked a little bit better there for Dark. But as it stands, yeah, I like this position for ByuN quite a bit more. Finally does decide to start up +2/+2 as well. A little bit later on that than I would have liked, but anyways, indeed it is going to be a hive. ByuN really wants to hold on, or sorry, Dark really wants to hold on to this 4th hatchery. 3rd tank now showing up as well. Corrosive Biles right there to try and deal with the Banshees. Love the fact that the Banshees are now helping out at the front as well. Now the Zerglings at home have been dealt with. They're just constantly piling up the pressure. You'd almost imagine, yeah, I would have actually liked to see him going for like a third or so. Banshee too, right? They've been quite strong. Anyways, one of them will go down. Only 3 drones though. Yeah, Hive is about, I would say, 30 seconds away from finishing. He did, by the way, go for melee upgrades, and he's going to double down on it too. So Baneling Speed is also going to finish up here over the next 30 seconds. It is going to make defending against Marine-based armies quite a bit more straightforward, but for the time, I still like this position for ByuN a little bit better. 4th Command Center, flying on over towards the 4th base location. He'll probably morph that into a planetary fortress. And now we have barracks 6, 7, and 8 coming up over here in the back of the main. Wouldn't be surprised if he's going to go into a Ghost Academy pretty soon as well and just go for that very turtley type of style. Or not, right? This is ByuN after all. ByuN is the type of guy who will defend Ultralisks with Marines. Kind of depends on what, I don't know, flavor of cereal he had that morning, I guess. Like every once in a while, he just refuses to transition towards other units other than Marines. Anyways, it is going to be a couple of Vipers over here and straight into Adrenal Glands. So the fact that Dark took a gamble and it actually sort of paid off is really quite impressive. He's got the 4th base up and running. Nicely done right here by the Zerg. Dark's actually so ridiculously good, right? Like, he went for a push that didn't really do anything. He put himself very far behind, and he actually is still, yeah, in a very playable spot. Still don't really like it all too much, but it's definitely playable. If he finishes up all of these upgrades, I mean, they're very expensive. The same for the Vipers. Like, all of these things are very, very expensive. But if he finishes all of it up, I think he's actually back in this game. Either way, ByuN is going to try and prevent that from happening. This time around, he shows up with 5 siege tanks. That is a scary army. There's some Marauders into the mix now, too. Probably not anticipating his opponent to stick around on Roaches for very long either. I guess the Marauders are still going to be good, though, at, well, clearing out the Banes. Soaking up some of that damage. Hatchery does eventually now go down. A new hatchery was built on the left side of the map. Okay, now this is some good movement, though. Yeah. So the economy here from ByuN is quite a bit better than that of Dark. If he can prevent that 4th base from finishing, he's going to be in a really nice position. Dark, he's running out of money in the main base as well as the Natural Expo. Baiting that Zerg force right now into that siege tank split as well. And the split is glorious. Nicely done right here by ByuN. Parasitic Bomb though, yeah. Gonna pop a couple of those Medivacs. Okay, +3 melee. +3/+3 coming up here as well for ByuN. He's going for +1 siege tank upgrades too. Alright. Yeah, so now Dark is up with his back against the wall. Like, he doesn't have a lot of mining. He's desperately trying to make a new base right over here on the right side. I actually like this position quite a bit more than the one on the left. Just because of the fact that, well, there wasn't a lot of creep over here, and this one is relatively well protected. Now he's gonna go into an Ultra cover too. Okay, so he's playing Road Ravager into Lingbane Viper into eventually Ultras. But I do really quite like that timing right there on the Ultralisk Cavern as well as the Ghost Academy though. ByuN already one step ahead right here of the opponent. Okay, Blinding Clouds are going to disable this beautiful arc right here of Ravagers as well. Trying to rain as many Corrosive Bowels as possible. He does get rid of a couple of those siege tanks. I think maybe a few of the Medivacs were also affected. He does need to be careful though because there's still tanks over here dealing so much damage. 15 kills right there on the tank in the back, and at this point, Dark realizes it. There's really no way he's going to be able to contest with ByuN's army, as well as ByuN's economy, as well as ByuN's upgrades. So he decides to tap out. Okay, so Berlingrad is going to be game number 2. Any more trash talking here, Mr. ByuN? No? Not even a GLHF either. Okay. Alright. Curious to see, though, that Dark decided to go for a Roach push on Hardwire without, like, an Overlord for high ground vision as well. It's a little... Yeah. Not a huge fan of it. I mean, if you are gonna go for a Roach push, a map like Berlingrad makes a lot more sense. Just because the rush distance from natural to natural is significantly, yeah, shorter. So you can get to the other side of the map quite quickly, especially when you have like a creep tumor down right over here or right over there or so, right? You can quite literally place it like 3 or 4 times and you get to the other side of the map. It's a relatively, okay, decides to go for a pull first. I think that was 16 supply. It's a relatively easy map to rush on, is what I'm getting at. Plus, of course, you have this nice flat area right over here at the front, too. That does make it quite a bit easier to try and break through if you want to go for a roach push. I mean, if you're going to go for a roach push to the best of 3 series, and you know game number 2 is Berlingrad, I'd imagine you go for the roach push on Berlingrad and not on Hardwire, right? Does that make any sense? Anyhow. It's going to be pull into a hatch, into a gas geyser. A type of style that we see Raynor doing quite a bit, or at least he used to a few months ago. Pull first is strong against all kinds of Terran shenanigans. ByuN hasn't really gone for a lot of shenanigans, though, recently, so... Oh my god. Okay. That's super quick. That is 1 minute and 32 seconds, I believe, on that Roach Warren? Okay, then. So, yeah, that's in line with what I was trying to say just now. He decides to go 6 Zerglings right now. How many drones are we gonna make? If this SCV scout goes into the main base and ByuN actually picks up on it, that would be amazing. Okay, ByuN goes into that. He sees right here that it... okay, that it was a pull first. Reaper is out. So the problem is, when you see Zerglings at this point, right, you also kind of anticipate that your opponent made more than 2 Zerglings. So he's gonna be forced to keep that Reaper at home because he doesn't know where the other 4 links are, right? Or 2 links or 4, it doesn't really matter. You assume that there's gonna be more. And if you send the Reaper across, then the Marine dies, the SUV dies, maybe even the Reactor dies if you're spawned on the other side of the map. It gets a little bit messy. So, at this point, ByuN doesn't really know what he's going up against. So I actually really like this. Decides to go for a blind bunker. Alright, there's gonna be a reactor right over here. Roaches, though, are already building. There's no Zergling speed or anything along those lines. So Dark is gonna just get very aggressive. I wonder what it is with the Zerg players recently, though. I feel like I've casted a lot of games recently with the top-level Zergs, just playing hyper-aggressive games, which is interesting because whenever they play straightforward macro, they seem to win 9 out of 10 times. Like, I'm not exactly sure why they're playing so aggressively. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Anyhow, obviously I only cast what is a relatively small sample size. So maybe, I don't know, I've just been casting a game where in the longer matches, the Zergs end up winning, but... Anyways, ByuN. Pretty happy he's built that bunker. He's also decided to go for a very quick tech lab right here, so he's already going to be able to go for a Cyclone too. I honestly really like that. That bunker here at the front is going to be so useful. Okay. Needs to try and keep as many of those roaches alive. How many workers does he need to kill? At least I would say 6, 7 maybe. Or how many, what did I say, roaches? How many SCVs does he need to kill? I don't know, maybe I didn't misspeak. Maybe I did. Anyway, he's looking to kill at least... Yeah, I think 7 SCVs is decent. 8 is nice. Yeah, that one bunker, though. Super strong. Loving it. So, right now, can we really call this an advantage here for Dark? I guess we can. He is at 31 drones versus 24 SCVs. Obviously, though, once again... ByuN invested quite a bit of, Dark invested quite a bit of time. ByuN is going to be able to go into the 1-1-1 here very quickly. He decided to go for a second Cyclone right now, together with a Medivac, which I actually quite like. This does mean that ByuN has a tech advantage. It's not a huge one, but it's nice. Third hatchery coming up. Zergling speed about halfway done here. Okay, killing that Overlord is sweet. This isn't the point in the game where Zerg can really easily afford OVs, so I like the fact that he decided to. He's actually going to go Banshee Hellion right now as a follow-up too. Okay. This is such a ByuN-esque composition, right? I feel like this is something ByuN loves to play, but he barely ever gets to. Just because these units don't usually line up very well with each other. In a regular game of StarCraft, it doesn't happen often, but... Ooh, Armory as well. Okay. So I think ByuN is going for a Cyclone, Hellion, Hellbat, Banshee push? If that sounds complex, it's because it is. Just trying to slow down Zerg in any way he can. He hasn't spotted the third base right over there, but I guess it's an easy assumption to make. Brenda! Brenda! Brenda runs for her life, but not fast enough. Okay. Banshee number 1, moving towards the right side of the map. It's gonna find drones over at the third base of the Zerg, unprotected, if it would fly forward, which it didn't. But yeah, I like this. So he's gonna try and save it, right? He's trying to just save as much health as possible. There's no third command center here for ByuN. There's just an armory, so this does mean that he needs to deal some sort of damage. Okay, look at this move though. He's purposely sending the Cloak Banshee through the center to force these drones and these queens in this direction, and that now allows the Cyclones as well as the Hellbats to get some work done. Nice moves here once again from ByuN, trying to zone away that Zerg army. Okay. Ooh, if the Hellbats get on top of the stacked up queens, they deal so much damage. Transfuse right over there. Nicely done. Zerglings coming in from the back. Is there enough, though, for the Zerg to properly clean all of this up? He's making Roaches and Zerglings here on the back of this. Obviously making Roaches here as an option, right? Because he made the Roach Warren so early. Spore Crawler moving to the front. So many low HP queens, though. Excellent micro here by Dark, keeping the majority of those units alive. He's gonna try and keep this base up too, but I honestly wonder if he should just give it up. He really doesn't want to lose it though. He knows he's gonna be in a tough spot if he does. Nice micro though here by Dark, making the best of a bad situation. But eventually, ByuN's army proves a little bit too strong. He loses a lot of units in the process, but he does kill the third hatchery there of the Zerg. ByuN though, still no third command center for himself. Yeah, finally starts one up right now, but that honestly is extremely late. Wouldn't have minded if he decided to send that one in. Yeah, that SCV in to build the third command center a little bit quicker. So he's decided to go 5 barracks on 2 base. Normally we see the third command center before the starport, or, you know, after the starport, right? Before you add on barracks 2 and 3. This is 5 wrecks right now on 2 bases for ByuN, which means he's going to be able to make an awful lot of army. And I don't think Dark has any idea about it. Dark in these sorts of circumstances doesn't really like going for, Is this the hero Reaper? Oh my god, this is a Reaper with a journey. No way! Okay, I gotta go back. You know what? I've gone back all the way to the very beginning. I want to look at the story of this one Reaper. I think it's... I think it's this Reaper that... minutes later... is the one who ends up killing the queen. So, it scouts that the roach push is coming. It then pops itself into the bunker. It helps defend against the Zerg onslaught in the earlier stages of the game. Fearlessly popping out of the bunker as well. Man, we should all aspire to be a little bit more like this one Reaper. Oh my god, look at that. Laughing in the face of danger. The Marines may die, but he's got a jetpack and 2 guns. Never scared. Alright, and then he also joins in on that fight on the other side of the map, if I'm not mistaken. So this is where, very soon, we're gonna see that, we're gonna see the, what's it called? The armory being added on. Yep, there it is. And even though he's now, I guess, catching his breath in the Natural Expo, he gets to join this Terran army as it goes all the way to the front. What a legend. Does it throw any Reaper grenades over here too? It's just dealing damage wherever it can. Oh my god, what an absolute legend. It's got 3 kills. I think one of those is a Ravager. One of them may be a Queen. Look at him. Okay. And I think this is the moment where the entire Terran army goes back home. And then the Reaper is sent out to scout once more. There he goes. He's so proud of being a Terran that he's got a T tattooed on his back. Did you see that? Anyways, here he goes. We'll get back to the point in the game where we were at. Sorry. I needed to learn if it was the one Reaper that we heard so much about. Then it goes into the main base and it kills Karen. What a legend. That was absolutely beautiful. Anyhow. Did that Reaper sacrifice itself for free? I don't think it did. ByuN still has 5 barracks production, right? I know I've really hammered that home, but that is a lot. Dark has no idea that that is the case. So there is gonna be way more army here than the Zerg player normally expects. Yeah, he's been desperately trying to rebuild the 3rd base. He's trying to get some Zerglings and Roaches right now out because he knows he's gonna need it, but there's some excellent siege tank spots right over here. One siege tank hiding in the tall grass. The strangest looking Pokemon I've ever seen. Okay. Did I really pause the game like 30 seconds before it ended? Anyways, at the very least, we learned more about the Hero Reaper, right? His sacrifice was not in vain.